Part 259. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2581. Boy Fang Fan. You are not a son of man. There are so many 4-star and 5-star sanctuaries, what the hell should I take? Is this an opportunity to show your face? This is clearly an opportunity to slap your face. Shame on you. I was careless in making friends in Baipiao. I Baipiao didn't see your true face until now. Fang Fan, you understand everything about this wave. Baipiao silently yelled and cursed at the side. Fang Fan's face was full of disapproval. With a few more curses, the scene can become more lively, so that's good. If you don't need to do all these things, this brain will become buzzing invisibly. At this moment, everyone in training room number 5 has launched an attack on Baipiao. Xiao Li Yulai, take the students from the first year seed class and retreat. Don't let them be affected. Fang Fan pondered for a while, then followed up with the conversation, and then looked at the audience. It's time for a hearty battle. Although there are some difficulties in this training camp, it will be done. Fang Fan swung the heaven Zhangjian in his hand, and slashed down with one sword. Dozens of people collapsed to the ground. Fang Fan had deliberately kept his hand away. For those who did not intend to take his life, Fang Fan would only beat him to lose his combat effectiveness, but at least he would not kill him. As for those who came up to shout and kill, Fang Fan naturally would not be polite, and he sealed his throat with a sword, which seemed straightforward. After this wave of battles continued, the situation in the audience gradually stabilized. Everyone's eyes gathered here, and the expressions on their faces were very real. In just a few minutes, dozens of people collapsed in front of Fang Fan. There were indeed hundreds of people in the number 5 training room, but most of them were people who ate melons and didn't want to be involved in this battle, so a large part of them just ran away after leaving the number 5 training room, and there was no trace at all. Only about 100 people actually participated in this battle. At this moment, the damage has been nearly half. Fang Fan's eyes scanned the distance, and happened to see Qiuzhan, a young man in green who was yelling wildly there. All these things were provoked by him. Go. Go. Give it to me. What are you ink stains? You bunch of trash. They are all trash. Ah. Damn it. You bastard. You bastard thing. It's horrible. I can't wait to kill you all. A bunch of bastards. Revenge me. Revenge. Kill him, I will reward you a lot. Otherwise you know what the consequences will be. Didn't you hear me when I spoke? Ah. Asshole. Sounds of fury followed, and the green-clothed young man Qiu showed a menacing look. The boys who gathered around him are more or less dissatisfied now. Damn, we've all tried our best. But now is such a consequence, what can we do? Don't you know how strong the opponent you provoke is? Did you really not see the scene where you were being hanged and beaten? That's it? Do you have to call me? Human hearts are fleshy. Everyone gathered around this young man in green, Qiuzhan, because of the convenience of this guy's status. They all thought that he was the son of Qi Wei, the vice president of the God of War Academy, and that he could give them corresponding care and privileges in the academy. To bring benefits to them, so one by one willingly came to be horseboys, to flatter Li Ugzhu. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2582. But now there is nothing. This really means sacrificing your own life. Who can stand this? It erupted in minutes. Probably such a gesture. Very real and very real. Immediately, hundreds of people who gathered beside this young man in green, Qiuzhan, gradually disappeared into nothing. The scene became extremely embarrassing for a time. In this case, it is particularly scalp-tingling to say anything or do anything. Because everything you do now is wrong. Why did you run away? Return. Come back. Come back to me. Who told you to evacuate? How dare you do it without my order? I will not let you go. A group of rebellious boys? Hateful. Qiuzhan, a young man in green, clenched his teeth, and his lips were trembling slightly as he spoke. Even if things go wrong today. No luck doing anything. It's completely unlucky. At this moment, Fang Fan walked over with a smile on his face, the Heaven Zhan sword in his hand was shining with silver lights. What do you want to do? Don't mess around. My father is Qi Wei. My father is the vice president of the God of War Academy. Don't come here. Qiuzhan, a young man in green, shrank his neck, and there was more or less panic in his eyes at this moment. But on the surface, I still want to pretend to the end. So at this moment, I just gritted my teeth and persisted. So what? What does this have to do with me? You snatched the training room of our first-year seed class for your own use, and even used it as the venue for your birthday party. You have made such a mess in the training room, how do you let us train? I asked you to vacate the training room, what is your attitude? You were the ones who wanted to attack me first, and I fought back in self-defense. I was right. It's you who want to kill me every now and then. What do you think I should do? Holding the Zhantian sword in his hand, Fang Fan put it on Qiuzhan's neck silently, and then gently began to dance up and down. A thread of blood gradually flowed out. The bloodline corresponds to life. If you are not careful, it will be cold directly. This wave is too real. This time the ideas gathered, and the sense of explosion was completely shocking. You want to kill me? Qiuzhan's eyes tightened instantly, and he suddenly said with fear in his eyes. He didn't expect the situation to evolve to this point. Now even my own life is not guaranteed. This time I thought about it, my teeth chattered unnaturally. The extreme sense of panic in my heart hit me, and my whole person became ecstatic. Now I'm really scared. Isn't it normal to kill you? Is there anything wrong with this? After all, you were the one who wanted to kill me first. I fought back in self-defense and accidentally killed you. Does that make sense? It's almost enough for the school to give me a warning. What do you say? Who told you to provoke me first? Is it like this? The smile on Fang Fan's face became sweeter and sweeter, and while smiling this time, his eyes became more earnest. It's just that looking at it from Qiuzhan's point of view at this moment, I feel inexplicably cold all over, and endless fear comes over me. He really felt the killing intent in Fang Fan's eyes. How dare this guy? He is the son of the vice president of the God of War Academy. He is noble. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2583. Qiuzhan thought in his heart, and then wanted to continue to be stubborn. If you let me go now, forget about today's matter. If you continue to hurt me, I promise you will regret it. What is the current situation, I hope you can also understand. If something happens to me, you will definitely have no good fruit to eat. In this 3-acre land of Guangming Academy, Finger, my finger. Qiuzhan let out a heart-piercing roar. At this moment, his body trembled intermittently, and his complexion instantly turned pale. As he was talking at this moment, the cold sweat on his forehead became more and more profuse. The urge to vomit blood. What the hell is this guy trying to do? He really couldn't hold it anymore, couldn't take it anymore, his mentality exploded. Let's all explode. Just now, Fang Fan casually cut off a finger on his left hand. Originally, the right hand had already been cut off, and now another finger was broken on the left hand. How can I live like this? Fang Fan is still as vicious as ever. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's planning. Bai Piao twitched her lips, and then complained from the side. While talking at the moment, there is no good expression on her face. He still remembered that Fang Fan pushed him out just now as a shield, so he really couldn't get over it in his heart. Anyway, at this moment, it seems a little wronged. The feeling in my heart is so real. Brother Fang Fan won't really kill this guy, although this Chu Zhan is not a thing, but if he really wants to kill him, it will be a bit troublesome. Gisha took a deep breath, and then followed suit. He. Don't worry, he is reluctant to kill. If you wanted to kill him, you would have done it long ago, so you don't have to do all these things. I'm afraid Fang Fan wants to take advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. Of course, if this guy named Chu Zhan doesn't cooperate, it's not impossible for Fang Fan to kill him with one sword. Bai Piao has already figured out Fang Fan thoroughly. While talking at the moment, the smiles on his face became more and more. Anyway, he knew it clearly in his heart, probably that's what happened. As for other things, it's good to understand clearly in your heart, and you don't need to go back and forth like this. Get some money. How do you make a fortune? Is there any oil and water here? Xiao Liulai blinked blankly, looking very curious. From a comprehensive point of view, it is very problematic. Look at Fang Fan's operation. He pouted his ass. I know what to fart. I don't know about others, but I understand him too well. Bai Piao curled her lips, then touched her nose and said, what she said was justified. Anyway, all aspects of this are followed, and this time it is very real. In fact, Bai Piao really guessed right this time. Fang Fan really thought so. It would be a pity if such a good opportunity to make money was wasted. I just ran into such a fool again. You cut off my finger again. You are crazy. Does it not hurt? What are you going to do? I won't let you go. Click. As Chu Zhan continued to roar, Fang Fan cut off one of his fingers again. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2584. When a finger is cut off, this guy will naturally keep making noises, and the gesture and expression of howling and roaring are very real. But after cutting off 3 or 4 fingers, this guy was completely scared. Chu Zhan found that Fang Fan had already made a gesture to measure his head. Please, let me go. I don't want to die, I really don't want to die. Let me go, I am grateful to you, I am grateful to you for the rest of my life. This is too painful. This feeling, I'm about to burst. Let me go, please. I won't dare again. Please, please. I will agree to any of your conditions. It was my fault before, I shouldn't have seized your training room. It's my ignorance and my shamelessness. I really knew I was wrong. Help. Chu Zhan smashed his head on the ground crazily, and then made a series of collision sounds. The scene once made people feel scalp numb. After this wave, the things on the scene became more real. This gathering of postures crushes all dissatisfaction. Anyway, that's the attitude after all. Once the attitude is in place, other things will naturally become easier. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth raised slightly, then he silently nodded. He felt very satisfied with this wave. At this moment, Fang Fan even felt that he could directly close the net. Just at this moment, a group of cultivators in white rushed over from a distance. The school's law enforcement team is here. They all retreat to the sides. Fighters, all stop. In the academy, private fighting is prohibited. The leader of this group of white-clothed practitioners was speaking, and then rushed over with a cold face. This is a middle-aged man with a square face, and his bushy beard is quite eye-catching. Second uncle. Second uncle, save me. Save me. It's me. Chujan. Chujan, a young man in green, had a sluggish expression, but when he saw the person coming, his expression became agitated, and while he was talking, he was about to fly with excitement. Genre. Why are you here? Who hurt you like this? Who is so bold and unreasonable? It makes no sense. In Guangming Academy, under the bright sky, how dare you do such a murder? Jude, the leader of the law enforcement team, gave a cold snort, and immediately expressed his attitude directly. Probably to show his willpower. Anyway, the ass of the law enforcement team is crooked now. The leader of the law enforcement team has a very problematic attitude towards Chujan. The two are directly in the relationship of uncle and nephew, so how intimate is that? As for other things, there is no need to talk about them at all. Second uncle, it's him. It's this guy. I'm holding a birthday party inside. This guy just broke in, and he's coming to trouble me. I just argued with him a few words, and I was beaten like this. He didn't just break my arm, he slapped me, he cut off my fingers. Second uncle, you must not let him go. Revenge. Must have revenge. The young man in green, Chujan, began to spit blood from his lips. While talking at this moment, the sinister look in his eyes is beyond words, and he can't wait to roar directly at this moment. Leaving aside other things for the time being, it is probably such a gesture at this moment. There is only one thought in his mind now, that is to kill Fang Fan and take revenge. What kind of character is he, Chujan? When did you suffer such humiliation? Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2585. Originally, I had been cowardly to the end, but it was because I was in a desperate situation and had no backing. I could even kneel down and beg. But now at this time, the backer is here. This wave of pull down feels different. Immediately, I felt like I could do it again. The eyeballs were even widening, and the sound of breathing became more real. Anyway, the resentment deep in my heart is about to be completely vented at this moment. Looking at his severed fingers and right arm, Chujan's face became more and more murderous. This time thoughts gathered in my mind, I wish I could rush forward. Now Chujan looked at the backer Jude beside him, and immediately pretended to be arrogant. Nephew, be safe and don't be impatient. Second uncle knows all about your grievances, second uncle will definitely give you justice. Jude, the leader of the law enforcement team, made a promise directly, and then waved his hand and said, take him back. Take him back to the law enforcement hall for interrogation. Anyone who dares to resist will be shot to death. Jude, the leader of the law enforcement team, waved his hand and could not help showing a vicious look on his face while talking. It's really hard to start here in front of so many people. Naturally, we need to follow up in all aspects, and at least we should act safely. Always pay attention to the impact. But if he entered the law enforcement hall, it would be his world. At that time, if you want to torment Fang Fan as much as you want, why don't you let him? At that time, if you pay too much attention and die directly, this possibility also exists. Anyway, just wait here silently now. As for those other things, there is no need to say anything, I understand everything. At this moment, the crowd gathered around gradually retreated, and no one wanted to get entangled with the law enforcement team. That's Jude, the captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, Tisk. No wonder that Chujan keeps calling him the second uncle. It is said that Jude, the captain of the Suanwu Law Enforcement Team of the Law Enforcement Hall, and Chi Wei, the vice president of the Ares Academy, are brothers. With this relationship, this Fang Fan is considered dangerous. Hey, what are you doing to provoke these powerful people? Isn't it just making trouble for yourself? I don't know what's going to happen at that time, and it's very likely that I will just do it. Steady, be steady in all aspects. If you are a little careless, you may really get cold. Let's not get involved in these things, and don't involve yourself in it when the time comes, and let's not go up there to kill ourselves. That's the truth. Originally, this matter has nothing to do with us. Full evacuation. Get away. Shouts followed, and the expressions on everyone's faces gradually became more real. After this wave, those things in attitude are very real. Husband, fight with them. Gritting her teeth, Xiao Liulai stepped forward, pretending that she wanted to do it directly. Return. It's okay, I'll take care of it. Don't be impulsive. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then reminded him from the side. Although the current situation is a bit chaotic, it is not without trace. After this wave, all aspects of things seem to be very real. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, thinking to himself, there was a different kind of brilliance in his eyes. What should come, always come. At this moment, such an idea seems extremely resolute. Captain Jude, right. You haven't investigated anything clearly, so you want to take me back, is it appropriate? Also, I came to the number 5 training room this time to bring the first year seed class students into the number 5 training room for training. The academy has assigned training room number 5 to us. But now this Chuzhan insists on snatching the past in order to hold some birthday party. I told them to leave, but instead of leaving, they wanted to kill me. I fought back in self-defense. What's wrong? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2586. Fang Fan let out a cold snort. His attitude had been completely revealed. As for other things, he knew everything. This attitude is undoubtedly revealed. Anyway, that's the attitude in every way. Fang Fan. It's this time, do you still want to absolve yourself? My second uncle is the captain of the Suanwu Law Enforcement Team of the Law Enforcement Hall. You are cold. You are completely cold. You are bound to die. Chuzhan, a young man in green, rolled his eyeballs with excitement. While talking, his facial expression gradually revealed. Anyway, he felt that only by killing Fang Fan, the resentment in his heart could be released. Fang Fan remained silent, looking indifferently at Jude, the captain of the Suanwu Law Enforcement Team in the Law Enforcement Hall. Is there no Wang Fa in the academy? Fang Fan continued to speak, his eyes were extremely frank. I am the greatest Wang Fa. Your biggest mistake was to offend my nephew, so your fate is sealed. Catch it. Catch it to the Law Enforcement Hall. Walk. Jude, the leader of the Suanwu Law Enforcement Team in the Law Enforcement Hall, sneered and didn't take it seriously at all. It's not impossible for me to go to the Law Enforcement Hall. It's just that I'm afraid Captain Jude might regret it later. I really don't want to cheat you. You have done things so terribly now, even if you kowtow to me and admit your mistakes later, it may be useless. I think you'd better think about it. Fang Fan shrugged, and then said sincerely. Fang Fan felt that he was really a good person, and he was never willing to cheat others. Extremely ridiculous. It's just a mere student, but he's talking nonsense in front of the captain. When I get to the Law Enforcement Hall, I want to see if your mouth can still be so sharp. I'll kowtow to you and admit my mistake. Do you really think I'm the son of the palace master? Bring back. Jude, the leader of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, waved his hand, and the tyrannical expression on his face continued to show. Anyway, if you say 1,000 words and 10,000, at this moment, you have to pretend to the end. The attitude shown on the surface is very proud. Boy Fang Fan, do you really want to follow him? Why bother with these things? I went to the law enforcement hall. If you are really tricked, I'll see what you can do. Bai Biao twitched her lips, and then complained from the side. With brother Bai Biao as my guard, what am I afraid of? If I really encounter that kind of danger, brother Bai Biao can still help me block the wave. Could it be that brother Bai Biao can abandon me and escape alone? Fang Fan said solemnly, then looked at Bai Biao sincerely and said. Bai Biao was stunned for a moment, then the corners of his mouth twitched. You humming want me to use you as a shield? That's the Holy One. It's fine for me to block a few 4-star and 5-star sanctuary realm practitioners, Holy Venerable, what should I do to block it? My defense is also limited, okay. Sooner or later, I will be played to death by you. Bai Biao almost couldn't catch his breath. While talking at the moment, I immediately started to complain. The sense of rhythm of this complaint became more and more intense. Anyway, this time I have such a comprehensive talk in my heart. The feelings in all aspects can't help but become extremely real. What are you talking about, playing to death or not? I'm fine, what are you doing? Aren't we deeply brotherly? Could it be that you still have the heart to suffer any danger from me? Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2587. Fang Fan smiled, and then said seriously. If there is a fatal danger, you kid will never go there. You just want to trick me. Anyway, following you will definitely not end well. Bai Biao's eyeballs shrank accordingly. While talking, he immediately said it with a serious face. He has seen through it all. So real. We have been brothers for so long, and you just look at me like this. For so long, how have I treated you, do you have no idea? We support each other, and we have come together so much. You will take the knife for me, and I will block the sword for you. Why has this brotherhood become so weak with you? Brother Bai Biao, you are too chilling for me. Which of us brothers is with whom? We are connected with each other, don't you understand this feeling? Fang Fan started talking nonsense, and then directly dragged Bai Biao to go. At critical times, Bai Biao can still play a big role. Seeing Bai Biao like this, I am afraid that even if he is attacked by the existence of the holy state, he can survive. This defense is too perverted. Anyway, Fang Fan really never saw Bai Biao's defense broken from the beginning to the end. From all aspects, this is a bit weird. The better you say it, the more you will cheat me later. Speak less and be more obedient, I can't hold on. While Bai Biao was talking, he immediately complained from the side. Why do I feel that the relationship between the two of you is abnormal? You treat Bai Biao better than me. You two are still in love. Do you like him more the same, or me more? Xiao Liyulai came over stealthily, and while talking, a look of vigilance appeared on her face, and she spoke in a menacing manner. Fang Fan really didn't pay attention at first, but after he heard it clearly, his expression changed instantly. That's it? This is really beautiful. What is this talking about? It's all things I don't understand. I just said it casually, and Xiao Liyulai took it seriously. Fang Fan is now unable to complain. Has this risen to the level of liking love? It's okay to know their situation, but if you don't know, don't you think there is some shady relationship between him and Bai Biao? What are you thinking about every day in your little head? Don't engage in such nonsense. Give me some seriousness. Fang Fan rubbed his forehead, he was really convinced at this moment. What kind of trouble do you want to make? You're not done yet. Hurry up and take it away. Take it to the law enforcement hall. It's law enforcement. Don't do these things. Jude, the leader of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, had a dark face, then waved his hand and said. This is clearly not taking them to heart. This wave after wave is completely the rhythm of doing things. How serious is law enforcement? Those members of the law enforcement team are all here. It's good for you, you just have an expression of indifference, and all these grievances and hatreds are involved. Jude, captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team in the law enforcement hall, took a deep breath, feeling inexplicably ignored. Not too harmful, but extremely insulting. Anyway, it is probably such a profound feeling in all aspects. At first, Fang Fan thought it would be fine to bring Bai Biao to go together, but in the end, he didn't expect that hundreds of people from the first-year seed class would all make a fuss and want to go. With the addition of dozens of law enforcement teams and the melon eaters around the outermost layer, this team even reached nearly 1,000 people. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2588. Anyway, this wave of lineup looks quite overwhelming. The things on the scene are shown, and the display of other aspects is very strong. In Guangming Academy, this is considered a big event. The corresponding news naturally spread like wildfire. This is what Fang Fan wanted. Along the way, with Bai Biao and others by my side, I don't feel lonely at all. Anyway, I'm just such a fool, I don't take it seriously at all. On the other hand, Qiu Zhan, the green-clothed young man, wanted to roar along with him from time to time, wanting to show off his muscles, probably because he wanted to show such a most authentic gesture. Let you offend me, do you regret it now? I tell you, it's too late. It's too late. Who made you kill yourself? The road ahead is now blocked. I tell you the truth, you will definitely die. I will let you die. You dare to offend me, you are still a little tender. I'm just hosting a birthday party, how dare you smash my place? Is it all right now? I'd like to see how you're going to make fun of yourself. When I get to the law enforcement hall, I will let you know what cruelty is. If you have any last words, just say them, before it's too late. After stepping through that door, don't even think about turning back. Qiu Zhan, a young man in green, seemed to want to brag to his heart's content. While talking, the excitement on his face was beyond words. Anyway, that's all he said at this moment, and the gesture of ahahao is very real. The vigor of the twitch is enough. Fang Fan put his arms around his chest, stared at Qiu Zhan like this, and then followed in admiration. Death is imminent, still unknown. Prepare more life-saving money, don't have enough money by then. I thought you would get 18 billion, so let's forget about it. But now the situation looks like it really can't pay the job. Stay safe. Fang Fan smiled indifferently, then took Xiao Liyulai's hand and walked forward calmly. Xiao Liyulai always had a worried look on her face. Are we really going to the law enforcement hall? I heard that the hall of law enforcement is terrifying, and there are many instruments of torture inside. What if they torture you at that time? Then, will you be able to bear it then? Otherwise, let's run now, I'll block you. Let's go to Taishu's mentor, even my master. Based on the relationship between my master and you, she will definitely help. Oh, by the way, senior sister Xiangfei's father is still the deputy palace master. There are many relationship chains behind us. Xiao Liyulai blinked, while talking, then nodded seriously. Anyway, the attitude shown in this aspect is very sincere. With this attitude shown, there is no need to talk about other things. Don't worry, even if you don't notify them, they should know by now. Go to the law enforcement hall first. Once you get there, it will be easy. After tossing and tossing for so long, if there is nothing to gain, then it must be impossible. No matter how you say it, this matter must be clarified. Fang Fan snorted coldly, and while talking, his face could not help showing a ferocious look. After about 10 minutes, I successfully arrived at the law enforcement hall. After stepping into the law enforcement hall, Fang Fan calmly took out a Grand Master's chair, and then lay down on it casually. No matter what is about to happen, this posture must be stabilized now. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2589. I have never seen a student who is so calm when he comes to the law enforcement hall. You are the first. Jude, the leader of the Suanwil law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, sneered, then waved his hand, ready to take Fang Fan directly into the dungeon of the law enforcement hall. Once you arrive at the law enforcement hall, you have entered his territory. What he wants to do next, can others talk nonsense? Not to mention revenge for his nephew, even to maintain his dignity, he must get rid of Fang Fan. Jude, the leader of the Suanwil law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, thought in his heart, and then the sinister look on his face became more and more. About there. Fang Fan took a grape from Xiao Liulai's hand, chewed it, with a relaxed expression on his face, and then calmly took a sip of the green tea in the cup. This doesn't look like they're here to be punished, it looks like they're here to be embarrassed. This looks too embarrassing. It's boundless. It's like visiting the law enforcement hall as a guest. Fang Fan was sitting on the Grand Teacher's chair and drinking tea leisurely. As for Jude, the captain of the Suanwil law enforcement team in the law enforcement hall, stood aside. Overall, it looked as if Jude, the captain of the Suanwil law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, had been serving Fang Fan by the side. Leaving aside other things for the time being, this posture is fully displayed at this moment. About there. What's almost there? You're almost going to die. Qiu Zhan, a young man in green, licked his lips, gave Fang Fan a vicious look, and then thrust his remaining 2 fingers viciously towards Fang Fan's eyeballs. Fang Fan stretched out his hand indifferently, then easily pinched it, and then moved it up. Click. Click click click. A series of crisp sounds followed. This is the sound of fractures. This voice sounds inexplicably giving people a feeling of buzzing in the head. Anyway, this feeling is so real. Ah! My finger! Hateful! Damn it! You crazy! You dare to attack me! Click! As the green-clothed youth Qiu Zhan continued to howl, Fang Fan calmly pulled the fingers off his hand, and then threw them aside. This wave of movements is leisurely, casual, and calm. Anyway, from a comprehensive point of view, it is so easy and freehand. In the law enforcement hall, in front of Jude, the leader of the Suanwil law enforcement team in the law enforcement hall, he broke the finger of his nephew Qiu Zhan. How can one be so strong? The green-clothed youth Qiu Zhan's complexion suddenly turned between bruise and pale. He was clenching his teeth tightly while talking at this moment, and his whole body gradually trembled. This kind of pain is especially real. Second uncle. Qiu Zhan, a young man in green, looked angrily at Jude, the captain of the Suanwil law enforcement team standing not far away. At this moment, the meaning is naturally very obvious, that is, to let his second uncle avenge himself. Anyway, he didn't have much ability on his side, and he was even followed by waves of panic and fear. Anyway, at this moment, my brain was buzzing violently. Sometimes this mentality is even more important. If you have a bad mentality, you can easily get mad at yourself. Little brat, you are really ruthless. It's safe to go to the law enforcement hall. How dare you commit murder in front of this captain? As I said, there is absolutely no way for you to get out of here today. If I don't teach you a lesson today, I will be the captain for nothing. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2590. Jude, the leader of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, showed more and more ferocity on his face. While talking this time, low growls followed, and then he put his hands together in front of him, and the black lines on his forehead immediately gathered all over the place. A whip suddenly appeared in his hand, and he made a gesture to whip towards Fang Fan. Originally, from the perspective of Jude, the captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, Fang Fan should choose to kneel down and beg for mercy at this moment, but what he didn't expect was that instead of kneeling down and begging for mercy, Fang Fan acted indifferently. Light look. There was even a hint of mockery in his eyes. Jude, the captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, felt that this was a provocation to himself. This is clearly not taking oneself seriously. Court death. I make you laugh. I'll let you laugh later. Jude, the captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, let out a yell, and the whip gradually fell. Who dares to hurt my apprentice? Immediately, a more violent voice came, and the surrounding space vibrated violently, making people feel inexplicably excited, their brains shaking. It is probably such a very real feeling in my heart. Immediately, a burly middle-aged man appeared in front of Fang Fan. Since the visitor called Fang Fan his apprentice, he was naturally Tai Shuji. It has always been difficult to locate the age group of Tai Shuja. If this guy dresses up a bit, he can actually be considered a handsome middle-aged uncle. But under normal circumstances, they are in a state of unshaven beard and unkempt hair, looking like an old man. Anyway, on the whole, it is probably such a real state. Fang Fan sighed silently, the feeling in his heart at this moment was very real. The appearance of Tai Shuja naturally caused a commotion. Openly confronting the captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team in the law enforcement hall, this seems quite tough. Who is this person? He looks so arrogant, he can actually catch the whip of Jude, the captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall. Are you a freshman? You can tell that you are a freshman at first glance. You have never even heard the name of the undead mentor Tai Shuja. Really, you are out of date. Necromancer? Shit. This is the necromancer? It is said that the death rate of the apprentices under his hands is as high as 90%, the remaining 10% are basically disabled. Ah, you can't scare me. So strong, I'm scared, I'm really scared. It's awesome, suppress all dissatisfaction. A series of loud noises followed, and the crowd of spectators grew more and more. How interesting this looks. This is directly the posture of fighting. This gets more and more interesting the more you look at it. Their eyes widened, and they even wanted to rub their hands together, probably because of this attitude. Excited, excited. People who eat melons never say never. At this moment, Jude, the leader of the Suanwu law enforcement team of the law enforcement hall, naturally also discovered the existence of Tai Shuja, and suddenly his face became ugly. Regarding this person's reputation, he has more or less heard of it, and even had some dealings with him before, and had some painful experiences. When he was the deputy captain of the Suanwu law enforcement team in the law enforcement hall, he once went to enforce the law on this Grand Uncle G. Unexpectedly, not only did he fail to arrest the Grand Uncle G, but he even beat him severely. This deep memory is very real.